Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Today I am going to explain on your second assessment, which is your pitching. Now, for pitching, I will start with the draft of your pitching and what are the requirements needed for pitching. Requirement means what are the elements, the things that you need to include in your pitching speech. Now, on the screen, we have a sample of a draft of an outline for pitching, and we have two columns. The first column is the things that you need to include in your pitching, and the second column is basically the draft of your pitching. Now, you're not required to submit the draft or the outline. However, in order for you to do your pitching presentation, of course, you need to first draft your pitching speech. Now, since I have given the green light to everyone on your pitching topic, I guess what you can do next is to actually draft your pitching speech and then, of course, to video record your pitching presentation for the submission. Now, for the second assessment, which is pitching, the video presentation, sorry, your presentation will be recorded, which means that you're not going to present in the classroom and you will submit your pitching via the link provided. You can refer to the pinned message in our Telegram group. Yeah. Now, I would like not to waste more time, and let me begin by explaining on the sample of this outline, and then maybe what you can do after watching this explanation. You can begin to draft yours for pitching presentation. Yeah. Now, of course, you need to have the topic. Number two is the introduction, attention getter. Now, if you noticed, it is very much similar to what you had before for your informative speech, where you are required to include introduction as well as attention getter. Now, let's look at the given sample of an introduction or attention getter. Now, I believe that I have the most effective form of advertising available on the market today. The advertisements can be exposed to customers for 2,220 seconds on average. Now, if you notice, the person has not yet revealed what kind of advertisement. So this is more of giving a glimpse of what he or she is about to deliver in his pitch, just to get the attention of the audience. It's going to be something simple because you have to remember that your pitching presentation is roughly between 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. Now, once you have crafted your introduction, including your attention getter, next is, of course, for you to lay out the problem or the issue. Now, why do we carry out a pitching? Because there's an issue, there's a problem, there is something that we would like to resolve. Now, let's look at the given sample here. Unless you have a multinational company or a global brand, almost every business out there goes by on a limited budget, especially for advertising. With the abundance of advertisement all over the place, it is not easy to make your business stand out. So that's the problem. The problem is you are not, you're not working with a multinational company, or you don't own a multinational company. So you are just a small company. You don't have a lot of budget when it comes to advertising. However, you want to advertise your product, however, you want to advertise your service effectively. So that's the problem, the existing problem. So the speaker mentioned the problem or the issue faced by small business owners when it comes to advertising or marketing their service or product. Now, next, after problem, you need to inform your audience what is your proposal. Proposal means your suggestion to resolve the issue or the problem. So let us look at a given example here. Now, what kind of advertising has that kind of exposure of time? Ladies and gentlemen, we advertise on coffee cups. That's right. We put your brand in their brands. So imagine this. Of course, this is just, this is just the outline. You need to elaborate further when it comes to your proposal. But what is suggested here is, in order to resolve the issue, is the speaker is basically telling that the issue is, um, small business owners don't really have place or cheaper place for them to advertise or to market their products or service. So they are actually suggesting, why not we advertise your product or your service by putting them on coffee cups? Because people drink coffee all the time in a cup. So while drinking coffee, they can actually watch and look at advertisement available on the coffee cup. So they are basically suggesting that. And the solution is, so how does a coffee cup advertising work? So this is where you actually explain in details the mechanism of your proposal. Now you are proposing an idea. So instead of going for billboard, which is expensive, or advertising in the television or on the radio, very expensive, why not we just advertise on coffee cups? So basically, that's your proposal. Solution is where you explicitly, that means you explain in detail, um, how are you going to make, or how are you going to realize your proposal or your idea. Yeah, so this is where you add in your solution. So how does a coffee cup the advertising work? So of course, first, second, third, you can read. I'm not going to read for you, all right? It's pretty long, but of course you can read this. Yeah. And then once you have given your solution, which means you have explained in details, yeah, what are the things that how it's going to work in terms of your proposal. Next is, of course, for you to talk about the justification for the solution. Now, why are you choosing that as your solution? There must be a reason behind it. So maybe you talk about in terms of price, which is very cheap. You talk about, I mean, you can read here, yeah. You can read here the justification, the given example sample of the justification to the solution. But we all can think why people choose over advertisement on a coffee cup, because it's cheap, yeah. And then it's powerful and effective because people drink cups every day. As you can see here, if we can get 20 coffee stands every single month for the next 12 months, we will have 240 coffee stands at the end of the year. With 240 coffee stands, at least 100 coffee cups bought from each stand in a day. So imagine people drink coffee every day, and then one coffee stand means that like a one coffee stall. So one stall is selling roughly about 100 coffee cups. Imagine people when they drink coffee. But of course, some may argue that, well, not everyone looks at what is printed on their coffee cups, which is true. But imagine if they could sell roughly about 100 coffee cups a day, and out of that 100, 50 are actually looking at the advertisement, and out of that 50, 25 of them are influenced by, or they want to buy your product because of that advertisement. Now we have roughly 240 coffee stands or coffee stalls. So 240 times 25, that's quite a lot. That means you can make money, you can grow your business by just advertising on the coffee cups. So this is basically the justification in terms of price, in terms of this. You need to justify, provide reasons to your solutions. And like many other speech, everyone, you need to have a conclusion. Now, a conclusion where you reinforce your proposal. You come up with a very short conclusion. You conclude your speech by reinforce your ideas. Starts with advertisement on of coffee cups because you find it interesting, you find it effective. Cost doesn't really cost a lot, stuff like that. These are the things that you conclude in your conclusion, and then you are done. You must remember, you have basically 3 to 5 minutes for your video presentation. And I would like to repeat again, You are not required to come up with a outline with an outline or with a draft of your speech. You are just required to present your speech. Now, because this is speeching, you are only required to record your video presentation. Do you need to have a visual aid? Yes, it's a must for every speech. And again, as I mentioned to you, not necessarily you have to use slides. Yeah. Now, since we are talking about pitching and most of you are going to talk about products, what if you're just going to show your products in your video presentation? Well, the product itself is a visual aid. All right. Okay, so that is all. If you have any question, kindly ask me in our Telegram group.